Hello, my name is Michaela Johnson, and I will be talking about colorism. We all know that racism exists, but did you know that racism within a culture exists as well? It's called colorism. I'll be talking about colorism within the black population with regards to the light-skinned subculture. This can matter to you because you've either been a victim of it or you contribute to it. I'd like to address multiple concepts of what colorism means, not only in the society, but on social media, in the midst of white privilege, and throughout childhood experiences. Colorism, as stated in the dictionary, is defined as prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. Now, if this definition were to be altered, I'd include the discrimination that light-skinned people face due to this divide within their own population. This divide isn't only noticed, but encouraged amongst many platforms where opinions are not only shared, but valued. These platforms are provided by social media. Upon reading an article on the effects of light skin glorification due to social media written by Dr. Amy Milligan and her students, she states, "The new generation based off of their love of looks and not personality. Everything is face value, and colorism is a key factor. Looking on social media, there's hardly any brown-skinned, dark-skinned woman being glorified just as much as light-skinned women. Being dark has become frowned upon, and that is something that shouldn't exist." I can further analyze that colorism did not stem from light skins, but from everyone else who envies the black population. I feel as if the opportunity for equality within the black population on social media has been stripped from us due to the power that social media holds over the individual. In the US only, Statica.com says an estimated 244 million people use social media in 2018. The number is only growing, and each of you have just as much opportunity to contribute to colorism as the next guy. When looking at the bigger picture, we see that social media isn't the only power of oppression and cultural divisions. We understand how the power of white supremacy holds and has held the greatest power over the growth and change of black culture. Upon reading an article by Caitlin Greenridge titled "Why Black People Discriminate Amongst Ourselves, the Toxic Legacy of Colorism," and listening to a TED Talk by Chica Okoro titled "How Colorism Shapes Our Standard of Beauty," I was able to understand the complexity of the origin of colorism and how it all began during slavery. When a slave owner slept with a black woman with lack of consent, I'm sure, they made it so that the children that they made contributed to his wealth, unlike many of the children who weren't light-skinned or who weren't made by the white man were sent off to other plantations. Moving past that, we still see a proximity to whiteness lead to a form of freedom. The brown paper bag test basically allowed those lighter than the bag to enter an event. This test had been administered not just by white people, but by black people as well. This being, we see how proximity to whiteness has led to opportunity that many dark-skinned people can't have. Preferential treatment has been carried on to the black society due to the type of influence the white community has had on black population, not by choice, but by force, thus leading to an internal cultural divide, not only by white people, but influenced by black people as well. We not only see how colorism impacts the light skin, but how their childhood experience and those that they grew up around impact them as well. When we think of a light skin, we think of her being black and white. We miss the details, like whether she grew up with the white side of her family or with the black side of her family, whether she has been exposed to black culture in her entire life or if she had to discover it herself. For example, say you see a light skin using their privilege to their advantage by hating on a darker skinned woman and making fun of their livelihood. Although when you look at her past, you see no black parents on site, no splash of color in the family photo book. You see nothing but her indulging the white culture that she was born into. Now, I don't mean to justify her actions, but I do mean to help you understand the underlying factors that contribute to her nature towards those that don't look like the people her family praises. Her growing up in a white family has caused her to develop a sense of colorism not only towards her peers, but towards herself as well. The term colorism isn't always as cutthroat as it seems. There are many other factors that lead to colorism, not only towards dark skins, but towards light skins as well. Although I am not here to say that light skins are more affected by colorism than dark skins are, but to inform you that colorism comes in many forms, whether it be through light skin glorification on social media, the white man giving more opportunity to you than your dark skinned peer, and the ideals of who you grew up around. I know that many of you think you don't relate to this, but I challenge you to look at your past, look at social media, look at the whiteness that surrounds you, and ask yourself, how have you been influenced? We all have our own stories, and for you to be aware of colorism is something that could truly impact the way you view those around you. Colorism will not go away anytime soon, but to be able to acknowledge it is to be able to fight it. Thank you very much.